All right, well, welcome back. This time we have Juyo Analytics on board. I think we talk a lot about maximizing revenue, maximizing profit. I think in order for us to be able to get there, we need to have a pretty good view and understanding of the business, and where really opportunities sit, get a pretty good pulse, right, of that, and how can we really unpick and uncover some of those opportunities. And for that, a lot of hotels look to us, hotel business analytics. And today with us, we have Vassilis, Syropoulos. Welcome, Vassilis. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well. Thanks for having me. I see some old friends and some new friends.
Indeed, we all know each other very well, and we all find it very difficult to limit the amount of information we want to share on this show. But everything's sort of very timed, unfortunately. But thank you so much for joining us, and we very much look forward to finding out more about what Juyo Analytics has in store for us today. So, over to you.
Thank you. Okay, let's get going. Let me share my screen. All right, are we on?
We are.
All right, excellent. So it wouldn't be news for anyone to say that one of the major problems that we have in hospitality is that we have a lot of different systems, and with today's digitalization, we have even more. Furthermore, all these systems, they generate a lot of data, whether it's internal data or external data sources. And all of that data is kind of sitting in different places, and we have these infamous silos that we all talk about. So it takes us it takes a long time, and it's a lengthy process to put it all together into one place. And actually the name of the game, and we talked about this a little bit today, is how to make the most profitable decisions. And we can see from the picture that sometimes the data is pointing us in different directions. Now, on top of that, hospitality has changed in the last 2 or if I can say almost 3 years now. And we've said that too, it's a bright future for hospitality, at least I believe so. But there's also a little bit of a storm out there as well. So not everything is perfectly on the horizon. And that storm is coming, let's say, in the form of inflation pretty much everywhere. So whether it's energy costs, whether it's staff costs, I mean, we have also issues not having staff in hotels, whether it's food costs, or here down on the left, credit card fees, and of course, distribution costs as well, which has been something that we haven't focused enough over the years. Now, all of that is really, really a lot of data, and sometimes it's like kind of staring at the night sky and seeing all these sort of stars and try to make out a constellation and trying to draw the lines across all these different data points. So what do we need? Well, we need a data platform. We need a place where all the data can actually come in one place. So that's what we are. We are the hotel data analytics and visualization platform. And our mission is, or I can say current mission, is to empower hotel commercial teams to understand their business, but also to understand also which are the most profitable customers for them. Now, while we start to empower the commercial team, actually, we've taken a step forward. So our first pillar is the customer and the commercial, but there's also other people in hotels with whom revenue needs to collaborate. That is finance, that is food and beverage. And last but not least, we also have external data sources that we all need to connect into one place and add a little bit of intelligence on top to take better decisions. So that's what we are. We are a data platform for hospitality with a strong aspect on data visualization and also working on making that platform also intelligent. Now, we've been building analytics for quite some years, and you can take different levels or different steps of how you're going to build these analytics and what are you trying to achieve. And so this is a model that we kind of think about here in the company, which is, as a first step, you can say, hey, let's do the old things that we are doing, let's do them a little bit better than we used to do before. Or let's innovate, let's do new things, or let's try and push the limits and try to disrupt and think in completely different ways, which actually would render what we did before obsolete. So we are developing analytics across these three different levels of steps, I would say. Now, the first one, to iterate, now you're not dealing with Excel anymore, or you're not dealing with an old-fashioned user interface. You're dealing with a rich analytics dashboard that allows you to personalize the information from everyone in the organization. On top of that, what you really want is you want to take decisions pretty fast. You don't want to run a report and then come back, have coffee, have lunch, and then come back and see the results. So you really want to be able to drill into your data, understand everything that is happening with a few clicks. And then the last one is you want to have data in context. And this is something that's very important for us, which means it's okay, you know, any company can show you what's your booking pace, what's your pickup. These are not difficult things to do, but you want to start layering some extra information to get a little bit more deep into the data. So that's, we think, is the first step of iteration. The second one is you want to start innovating or starting adding extra layers to it. So, and one of the things that a few panelists mentioned is that we need to go from being inventory-centric to being customer-centric. So that means that we need to start really getting closer to the customer and allocating all the data at the customer level. The second one is we believe that we should move away, or not, rather add to room revenue, also add the total revenue component, and add all the spend at that customer level. So in other words, understand which are the customers that have a higher propensity to spend in our hotels. And then last, but not least, I would say, is to go from revenue to profit. That means allocating all distribution costs, all acquisition costs, and really ensure that we boil all the data down to net revenue. But I think we need to go a step further as well, which is really looking at our operational costs as well, and somehow re-engineer the profit and loss around the customer, which is something that we're actively working on. And then the last one, which is a little bit a hint to what's coming up in the future, which is there's different ways to empower people with analytics, and different people have different needs. We always think about us sitting behind the screen and sort of consuming analytics, but I will just give a hint that there's different ways of how we can empower people in the organization across the whole organization. The second one is, as I was saying, we've taken quite some steps in making the application smart, which means that we have AI, we call her Cassandra, and AI has different, this AI has different skills, which help, for instance, with profile deduplicating, cancellation propensity, and some other predictions that we're working. And then the last one is, and that's something also we think about, how can we devise new KPIs that allow us to think in a different way? How can we look at KPIs per square meter? How do we empower hotels to actually think in a different way to repurpose perhaps some of the spaces that they have, which is something that we learned throughout the pandemic. So that's what we are. We are Juyo, and our mission is to connect all the data dots in hospitality.
Very impressive, Vassilis. I think you're bringing it all together, and I think everyone's sitting there and watching, thinking, "Is this really happening?" So, congratulations and great pitch. We're going to take some questions now because everyone seems very surprised about some of the things we've seen there. So, why don't we just go to maybe Shumi to start with?
Sure, yes. So I have a question. So obviously, you know, getting to a profitable, I suppose, forecast and profitable outlook is critical for us. But the one thing I have to ask about is the data itself, because you say that you're an analytical and a visualization platform. What about the technical side of things? Because, for example, within the PMS, in order to identify a booking that is delivered by an OTA via either a net rate or a gross rate, you would need to go to the source code within the PMS. And then, similarly, you have other costs and so on that, how do you actually do that? Do you do the extraction from the PMS, and do you remap the PMS so that the source code in the PMS accurately reflects whether it's a net rate or a commissionable rate? Or are you reliant on us providing you with the clean data and you're just going to analyze it and visualize it?
Do I have 2 days to answer that one? No, I'm joking. This is probably the most important question, which is, you would think that we spend our time to build beautiful visualizations, and actually that's not what we do. This is a small part. The biggest part is actually cleaning all that data and making sure that it can kind of feed the engine, right? So to your point, often the PMS data is not really good. I mean, we've seen many different levels of data. So indeed, you have to, let me answer it in 2 ways. The first way is, yes, we will remap all the data usually in our platform. So we look at and say, okay, how do we want to map, channel segments, rate codes, maybe companies, agencies, whatever the different dimensions are on the booking, right? So we need to do quite some cleaning data. Some cleaning of the data. And then there is different things that you might want to think about, which is you mentioned gross rates and you mentioned net rates. If you don't equalize this, you're not looking at the right information. So you need to think, how can I identify this, equalize it? So I'm comparing apples with apples and not apples with another fruit. I try to make the very short answer. I know that it doesn't answer everything you ask. It's quite a complex question.
All right. Okay. Federica, one more question, if we may, and it will be short, but hopefully. Danielle, coming from a world of total revenue management and total profit optimization, such as the Atlantis, what matters to you, when it comes to analytics?
Yeah, so I think the picture whereby you had all the systems and the silos, it's the one I would like to explore a little bit more. I think the issue of my life here, it has been like the integration of the systems. And so would you like to elaborate a little bit more? And I would like really to understand how you integrate the POS, PMS, and how you elaborate all the data together, and whether your system is also able to pull out menu engineering recommendations and tables, and whether your system is also a little bit flexible in actually creating personalizing tables or reports directly from the final user without getting back to you all the time and asking for more.
Yeah, so let me answer the second question first, which is that you don't want to come to us to, let's say, create visualizations all the time. So our vision is to be some sort of tableau for hospitality without needing a PhD to use it. That's what we're sort of trying to create. But our platform is coming in 2 different ways, which means one is the full platform with a visualization engine. The other one is what we call the data platform, which we would do only the data engineering part, and we would expose the data to you so that you could build something on top of that. So that's kind of the, let's say, the easy sort of quick answer to the second question. The first question about the integrations, I wouldn't be sitting here to tell you that it's a piece of cake to write integrations in hospitality. I'd be lying. Nobody would believe me. I mean, it's the hardest thing that we're going through in hospitality. We have the same challenges as everyone else. But we are the most connected analytics platform from a range of integrations, not only PMS, but also other data sources. So we think that we have an advantage is sort of in understanding the complexities of different forms of data, so to speak. We haven't solved everything, but that's the path that we're on to, I would say. Again, a really short answer on it. And we don't do menu engineering yet.
Thank you.
But stay tuned, Daniela, because you'll find someone who does in just a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Vassilis. That was super insightful. We all enjoyed this session. We all enjoyed all the sessions, and let's see who we're going to welcome next in the category of revenue maximization.
Bye-bye.